Hello, everyone. Welcome back to NeuroVerse podcast. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Ahmed, and he is a college student studying to be a doctor, and he struggles with ADHD. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm just gonna ask you like a few questions, kind of about ADHD and just your life, typical life, school, studies, etc. So I guess
Okay.
let's just jump right into it. Um, So, can you share a bit about your personal journey with ADHD and how has this diagnosis kind of shaped your life?
Um, so I kind of knew I had ADHD for like most of my like childhood, and I only found out when I was like a almost an adult basically. I was like an older teenager
Mm-hmm.
when I officially found out that I do have ADHD, but I kind of knew before that just kind of like because I had all the telltale signs.
Mm-hmm.
And I started taking Adderall around that time too, but it didn't really shock me or like make me feel like that emotional when I found out because I kind of had already come to terms with the fact that I think that I would think a little bit differently, that maybe I would even act a little bit differently than most kids. But in the end, like I wasn't necessarily different. I hit all my milestones on time. Um, I was able to interact socially, although it was a bit hard at first. I was able to like understand that, yeah, I may have like a bit of difficulties, but it's not impossible. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why, like, when I found out that yes, I did have it, it didn't come as like a big, like, oh my God, like light
Yeah.
bulb moment. It was
Yeah.
just like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So it was just kind of maybe confirming what you had
Yeah.
already thought. Okay. Cool. So what are like some common misconceptions that you've come across, daily or throughout, your experience about ADHD that you'd like to kind of clear up and clear the air for?
Well, ADHD is often characterized as like people not being able to focus. And the best way I've seen it be described is like trying to like juggle balls that have while memorizing like imagine like all the little holes on a golf ball
Mm-hmm.
if there were like numbers on all of them. Imagine trying to juggle golf balls while like trying to memorize the location of all the numbers and the little spots on the golf ball
Mm.
while listening to a story and then being told to repeat that story back. It's kind of like that's the best analogy I've heard for people that have ADHD, but I wouldn't necessarily say that that's the case with me,
Okay.
just because like ADHD isn't necessarily just like you can't focus. I mean, the majority of them can focus, but they get bored much more easily. And just like me personally, like I might find it like a bit of a struggle to focus if the topic isn't interesting to me, unless I like really like zero into it,
Yeah.
while others might be able to do it more naturally. But otherwise, like a common misconception would just be like, I guess being a bit wild, especially for like younger like boys and girls with ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
like being like, like jumping like between the walls, or I don't know what the phrase is.
Yeah.
Or yeah, you get what I'm saying, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So just kind of the hyperactive part of it.
Yeah, the hyperactive part.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So in what ways do you like, I don't know, kind of notice ADHD manifest different for you in your life? Either through school or anything else. And are there any specific challenges or strengths about that stands out?
Well, I would say it manifests outside of school and social situations sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say me and my friends are playing Monopoly, maybe just like out of the blue, like right after I land on Illinois Avenue, I'll be like, hey, do you guys want to go ride bikes? I think I'm going to go ride a bike. And I'll be trying to get them to like go ride bikes with me.
Yeah.
Just because, like, maybe sometimes I find it hard to like maybe stay on the same pace of the conversation. Like, someone says a joke, and then like a minute later, I'll be like, oh, I get it. That's what the joke means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's not really a struggle if you just keep in mind that like maybe that this isn't socially normal, or that like if you just this comes back to focus of just trying to stay focused on the task at hand.
Mm-hmm. So, how do you feel neurodiversity is represented in the media and society, and what changes and improvements would you like to see?
Honestly, I can't really think of any changes. I mean, any change that I would have wanted, like, is already being implemented. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so many, like, over the past, like, 10, 15, 20 years, like, I mean, we see so many characters, like, in children's cartoons that, like, have ADHD and autism. Like, for example, on Sesame Street, like, they just introduced a new character, Lily, I think was her name, who was like a Muppet who has autism.
Mm.
They make her like a big focal point, and it's not that every episode with Lillian is supposed to be a lesson that like, oh, autism, people with autism or ADHD can like be just like you and me. No, she has an actual character development. She actually has struggles. She's not some like perfect like character that can do no wrong.
Yeah.
She learns to in the show, and I think that's an amazing thing that is happening a lot in the media. That if it continues, I can't really think of any other improvements.
Okay. Interesting. So kind of things have already been, been being implemented and being changed.
Hmm.
Okay, great. Um, so kind of a more personal question. Are there any like particular hobbies or interests where you feel like your ADHD allows you to excel in, or are there any that do the opposite?
Excelling, I would say writing stories or making videos.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know if I'm trying to like create like I like to write alternate history fiction sometimes.
Okay.
And my I guess like way of like just flowing from one thing to another without staying on one topic at a time for as long as I should can help me a bit. Like for example, I can kind of think about how, I don't know, the Archduke Franz Ferdinand being assassinated led to the creation of anime,
Mm-hmm.
because I guess like his assassination led to World War One, which led to World War Two, which led to the Americans occupying Japan, which led to anime.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm able to just like link all those seemingly like unrelated things together is, in my opinion, a thing that only happens because of ADHD, but I use it to my advantage in that matter.
Mm-hmm. And would you say there's any that you may like face drawbacks due to ADHD?
Well, of course, like the focus part. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I do find it difficult to like stay like completely 100% zeroed in on certain like things if it's boring or
Mm-hmm.
if it may not be of interest to me, but that can be mitigated if I just like keep it in the back of my head that I have to like keep this on my mind.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So what role has like community, or what role has your community or family or friends or even professionals played in helping you navigate, some issues that you may face due to ADHD?
Well, I would say that like community wise, it's been pretty good. Like I have a good set of friends and like I mean, just as friends do, we sometimes like make fun of each other and sometimes my ADHD gets brought up
Mm-hmm.
of it, but they don't do it in like a bullying way. They do it in a way that like is friendly to me, like the same way I would, I don't know, if they're I don't know, bad at a sport, maybe I'd like make a slight joke about that, but not in
Yeah.
a way that would hurt them per se.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're completely accepting of it. They understand if like if well, I don't know, we're all playing Monopoly and I want to go ride a bike.
Mm-hmm.
They're understanding and they're like, "No, just come back. Just
Yeah.
make sure you finish the game. Then maybe we can go ride bikes."
Yeah. Okay. And have you like had any professional help or medical help or nothing like that really?
Well, medical help, I guess I take Adderall, which is more for my focus
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit for like my the hyperactivity part of AD of or I guess the H part of ADHD.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't really think of any like medical or professional intervention I've had.
Okay. And as like a tool to help you throughout your day if you need one. Do you have like any tools or practices that help you stay organized and productive? Considering the challenges that a lot of people with ADHD face.
Yes. It's a little bit generic, but it works, and it's I guess that's why it's generic. It works, and people use it for a reason. Rubber bands, like
Mm-hmm.
Just have like a rubber band you might use to like tie papers together or something. Just like have it on your wrist. And when you notice that like you're becoming unfocused, just like snap it on yourself and it'll create like a little shock to like kind of like get you back on track. Like, oh crap, I can't keep doing this.
Hmm.
Sends a little volt of electricity to your brain.
Yeah. Okay. That's very interesting, actually. And so what advice would you give to someone that has ADHD, or is young, and eventually will become older and have to navigate through the world with ADHD? What advice would you give to them, especially in terms of self acceptance, and navigating their lives?
Well, people with ADHD can still be very successful.
Mm-hmm.
And ADHD like might be a bit of a challenge in like situations that you would be in when you're young, like such as trying to make new friends or trying to focus in school. It definitely was a challenge for me, but try and also like use the advantages it gives you. Like for example, I like to think of myself as more creative than average because of my ADHD and the way I mentioned with like my alternate history writing.
Yeah.
And along with that, like ADHD, like people with ADHD, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
ha are in like very high successful positions. Like, I mean, Elon Musk, everyone knows him. He has ADHD.
Yeah.
It's thought that John F. Kennedy had ADHD. Same for Thomas Edison.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of psychohistorians tend to think that he and even the other famous Thomas in American history, Thomas Jefferson,
Mm-hmm.
he had ADHD. So just keep in mind that like you're in good company.
Okay, that's interesting. And then to round this out, what are some positive aspects of living with ADHD that you wish more people recognized or understood?
Well, as I mentioned, the creativity part.
Yeah.
But I guess that like I don't know, I you won't be bored with me. You'll definitely hear me say something interesting. It
Yeah.
might catch you off guard, but I mean, at least it'll keep your, at least it'll be entertaining, and you could tell your friends that, hey, so and so said this.
Awesome. Okay. And is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, nothing that comes to mind.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming on. And telling us a little bit about your life and ADHD. But yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and thank you for watching.